let's talk about things coming out of the box, Jim. Let's talk about things that come out of the box.
Yeah. Yeah.
Give me your example of someone pulling something out of a box and saying something that was utterly insane.
I see this all the time, especially like, okay, you'll get these guys that are like a Firefly guitar, and it's out of the box, and they open it. It's perfect out of the box. Perfect out of the box. Really? Setup is perfect out of the box. And I'm like, come on, this is where I'm like, I don't expect that of any guitar.
Really?
No guitar. Yeah. And so, yeah, I know. You're looking at that one. Don't tell me that nobody ever looked at that and tweaked it.
Mine's not perfect. No, it's not. No. It came out and it had wax on it.
So, I believe that. I had to take wax off that 335.
And anything with a nitro finish these days, they're electrically charged, so you're going to have dust.
Yep.
That's...
Yep. And you'll have those dust particles which are coming off of the styrofoam that's in there, the light styrofoam they put in there.
Whatever
which is
packing
good.
Material they're using, right?
Yeah, which is good, but it's still dust and it's still staticky, and still you got to wipe it down. But the other side of it is that there's no way the strings are perfect because they don't know you. And if you're so easy to please that any guitar out of a box is perfect, you don't know your playing style well enough or your feel well enough that you want to actually have. And I know this is flying right in the face of things. Boy, somebody's gonna hate me for
this.
Yeah, here it comes. But seriously, there's no way they know your specific thing. It might be perfect at the open. It might be perfect at the 12th fret. It might be perfect, but it's not going to be perfect up and down the frets. And I'm not saying that it's bad. And for some reason, today's culture, if you don't like something, you hate it, right? I'm just saying that it's not perfect. And I get really annoyed when I see this perfect out of the box. And then they'll 20 seconds later, for the price, this, for the price, that, for the price, something else.
But what the hell? Then what the hell do you actually mean?
Then the perfection isn't there.
Like, what the hell do you actually mean when you say that? So
right, what does it mean? You're right. Go ahead.
So here's my issue. So the only guitar. All right. I agree and I disagree with certain points. So the whole idea of adjusting a guitar to your spec is like, I see that as different from playing a guitar out of a box and saying it's perfect. In my mind, I think pulling pulling a guitar out of a box and it having no finish problems, the frets are perfectly level, the neck is perfectly intonated, as well as, obviously adjusted properly, right? But intonation is perfect on the guitar. And I really only feel like that can be achieved with an Evertune, number one, because, like, think about it. So, like, you hear this shit get said about things like Harley Bentons, right? I pulled my Harley Benton out of the box and it was perfect. Shut up. Okay, like, first off, no. Because there's no way in hell that thing arrived from Germany to the United States in tune.
Right.
It just didn't happen. And on top of that, I'm not really sure I trust you to make an adjudication about intonation. When you've seen people who've used strobe tuners, and then they're like, oh, the guitar's intonated, and then they hand it to somebody else, and he goes, no, it's not. And then he sits there and tweaks it, and then you can hear the difference in the harmonics, and you go, holy shit. Like, how did that guy do that? And they can do it by ear, and it actually be more accurate than a strobe tuner, or at least sweetened than a strobe tuner. Then you realize, oh shit, like everything gets called into judgment, right? Because then you're like, okay, so this guitar gets shipped to me, and I take it out and I strum the chords. I'm the first to admit this came out of the box. Intonation was bad. Okay, it needs to be intonated. I can tell almost immediately. Does it mean that I'm not enjoying playing it unintonated? No, absolutely not.
Right.
But that being said, like, that's something that I think a lot of players don't really have the ear for. They think they do better than they actually do. And case in point, I can't tell you how many times I've gone to an open mic and I hear somebody hit an open G and I go, what the fuck? Like, how do you think you're going to get through this with that? But they're, they pull out their clip-on tuner and they tune a little plink, 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 plink. And then all of a sudden it's like they hit the open G again and it's a little bit better, but it's still like, dude, you could take like 2 or 3 more minutes and get that thing actually in tune. And I see it a lot, especially with modern Fender players who are using floating bridges. They don't understand that you're supposed to tune them up like 4 or 5 times before they're close enough, really. And they're impossible to get. So this has got a floating bridge too, but they're impossible to get perfect. You're just never going to do it, but you could get pretty damn close. And the Kiesel's the same way. So like floating bridge and that whole shenanigans, and then having 7 strings made it worse. But that particular guitar, like, it came out as close as I've ever had a guitar come out of a bag from the box. I got the box directly from Kiesel. It came as close as I have ever seen to being perfectly intonated and in tune. And I will say this, preference-wise, the action was a little low for my preference. So I did a little relief check, and I adjusted it, like, within minutes of taking it out of the box. But that being said, like, it was pretty damn close. And I didn't have to intonate it, even after making the action adjustment. It was not perfect, but again, that's the point of this conversation, right? You can't pull a guitar off of a truck that has gone hundreds of miles, pull it out of the box, pull it out of the bag if it comes in one, and go, holy crap, this thing is perfect. It's playing in tune. The electronics are adjusted perfectly. And they're all the same, consistent. Like every one of these that comes out, because that's the other thing. Like when these reviewers get one, they get one as hand-picked. Okay?
Most of the time.
Especially unless they're purchasing it themselves. And even then, they might still be getting a hand-picked one.
That's right.
So they get a guitar that's going to have a little bit of extra attention sometimes. And that's one of these situations. Oh, it's perfect out of the box. The one I remember, somebody saying recently, and I don't remember who it was. I don't think it was the guy we talked about. But he pulled an SG out of the box and he goes, oh, it's perfect. And then like 15 minutes later, he's talking about tooling marks in the fretboard. It wasn't Brown or whatever his name was.
No, it's the guy from Ohio, right?
Yeah.
Baker?
It wasn't him. So I'm not going to, it wasn't Baker.
Oh.
No, it was somebody that was like, they're probably C-tier YouTube. But they were like, this guitar is perfect. But then they're like, oh, it has tooling marks in the neck. No, that's not perfect. Like, what the hell did you say that for? Because when you see these guys pulling boxes and pulling guitars out of boxes, it's immediate honeymoon. Immediate honeymoon. And for them, it's Christmas, right? So, like, right. I'm not going to pick on Ryan Burke, but I'm going to use him as an example because I know his name. Ryan Burke gets a guitar from whoever, right? Let's say PRS sends him one again. And he pulls it out and he goes, oh my gosh, like they sent me a $3,500 core model PRS. And this is an amazing guitar. And this is an amazing experience because my professional career has gotten me to a point where they're sending me $3,500 core models. And that whole clouded judgment becomes a thing. And I know people are like, oh, well, they're jaded now, though, because they've seen so many guitars. They are to a point. Because, like all of us, they have the same euphoria that they do when they get something new from somebody. And so even their judgment's clouded. I actually think if somebody were to do gear reviews and say, like, we're going to talk about the gear that was sent to me 6 months down the road after I've gigged it and rode it hard and put it away wet, and then we're going to talk about what I really think about it. Like, that's to me, is the real test of equipment, is the stuff that sticks around in your collection, especially in the things that I have. Will this PRS stick around? I don't know. I honestly, I hope it does. It feels like a keeper, but it's one of those things where who knows what I'm doing in a year. you know, and
You'll get every penny out of that if you ever did decide to get rid of it.
I mean, I'll get my rental out of it for sure. I'm not
No,
worried about. I'm not worried about
You'll
that.
get every penny.
I didn't buy it worrying about that.
No, I know. I'm just saying that if you decided to get rid of it, that would be one of the ones that you could get every penny out of it.
Right.
If you were willing to sit on it for, a few weeks and let it wait, you'll get all of it. Because the 35th anniversaries are all gone. They were limited. They actually were limited.
You know what's really funny? It's funny you say that. The 35th anniversaries were limited. 35th anniversary was last year. Guess what?
That's right.
They're still making 35th anniversary S2s because they didn't make enough of them due to the pandemic.
Yeah. Well, they didn't make
so
their
they're
number.
Still producing them,
which is funny. Yeah. I would definitely have bought that guitar. That's one I would.
Stamped, I think 1/19/2021. So 35th anniversary made in this 36th year.
Now I can honestly say that the guitars that are hanging behind me, every single one of them, including the Strat, believe it or not, has been gigged, has been played, has been, and they've all been out there and they've all had their time and tested. And the truth of the matter is I don't hate the Strat. I don't hate the Strat. It's just that I feel like it doesn't fit with the things that go. It's like one of these things is not like the other. And the fact is that, I've been on stage a few times now with that 335. And, for some people, that's the kind of guitar they just wouldn't take to a gig. They just wouldn't. It's $3,000. It's a lot of money. And I don't blame people. I got a friend. He's selling his Gibson 50 Standard. It's a gold top. It's a gold top version of my guitar right there. And I'm like, I was looking at it, I was like, oh, because I know I can get it for the exact same money I paid for that one, which is pretty good price. And because he's a friend. And I'm thinking, oh, that would be hard to.
But Jim, how many Les Pauls do you really need at any given time?
How many Les Pauls does somebody need? N+1.
You can live in that fantasy land as long as you want. Like,
I'm just kidding. No, I have one too many already. I really do. I have one too many.
Many people, are in the toy collecting business, basically, where they just keep buying the same stuff over and over. Like, I can't tell me how many people I've run into that have like 11 Strats, and they go, "Oh, what models?" And they go, "They're all American standards," and you go, "Like what?"
Well, let's take, for instance, that guy that bought.
How many tunings do you use?
that lost all those guitars. Now, I know there are a lot of people that collect. I really do. I know that. But when you've got a collection that's so big, you have to put it in a storage facility, and then you never go to it for a long time.
Yeah.
It really. I mean, I see these people that are collectors that collect. Yeah. I see these people. Well, he didn't do that. That's the bad side of it. But I see these people who collect Funko Pops like I do. I keep them out. They're all on display. Not just these ones here. I've got ones you can't see. They're right here where my hand is. I've got ones I've got my living room is full of them. I mean, we're setting up display cases for them. And I'm like, maybe I've got too many, and yet I've got some on pre-order. That's how bad it is. But here's the thing that you were absolutely right. My son said, "Dad, if you buy that gold top, you're now moving from player to collector." And he goes, "Are you really going to play that one versus this one?" He goes, "You know that one."
Your son's a good person.
And he was right. He read it so well. I need that in my life. I need that logical.
You definitely do.
Yeah. And I don't.
You are a collector, Jim. Let's be real. Like, not talking about guitars, but you just collect things in general. So it's easy to make that leap. But to collect things that are that expensive on the kinds of money that we make is just.
Exactly. I have a Peterson strobe tuner that still has the plastic.
Yeah, I remember
see the little tab?
have removed plastic on this show before.
And it's way past the return policy. There's absolutely no reason for that plastic except I'm an idiot. But I'm that guy. Let me grab this. So I'm so bad about this stuff. I mean, this is.
Yeah, still the box.
He's got the box. It's not only in the box. It's in a box in a box. There's an outer box.
Yes, I know.
It's plastic.
Yeah, showcasing.
That's how bad some of the stuff is. I've got some of them are showcased. I've got an Angus Young that's in a hard plastic box, then in a box with still the thing that says Walmart exclusive. What am I getting at? I'm getting at this because I want to bring it back to what we're talking about here. That is that at some point this is not perfect. It's the Peterson strobe tuner. It's not perfect.
No.
That guitar is not perfect. As a matter of fact, if I didn't,
if they were perfect, they'd be boring.
Look at how. Can you see how gooey that looks? So, we'll get to my gig from hell later. That'll be our bonus content.
5. That's our segment 5.
But in other words, what I'm saying is that if that was perfect to me, that Les Paul, that Gold Top, I had it, I lost it, I had it again. The last guy beat the out of it, and I had to reset it up. He set it up like he was playing slide or something. I had to bring it back to where I play it. These guitars are they're tools.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that people remember that. I mean, you can see my guitar.
They're
here.
Adjustable for a reason. You don't want them to come out of the box perfect. You really don't, because you're going to customize the crap out of them anyway.
Because, I think what happens is if you have that honeymoon thing, and this is me, okay, I could be completely wrong, but I think there are personality types out there that if they get a guitar that they say is perfect, are you going to adjust it? Or are you just going to be lazy? And I say lazy not in a bad way. See, you got to take that connotation with you. Lazy is in, you know what? Or let's say indifferent. Let's call it indifferent. Indifferent enough to go, I'm fine with it that way. I'm fine with it that way. Well, then you're not fine with it. What if the accent's a little too high and you're bending I see it all the time. Tell me how many times you get on the internet and a person goes, I got this great guitar and I love it and it's perfect. But for some reason, when I'm playing it, all the notes are out of tune. I'm like, either you're pressing too hard or your accent's too high, or both. Bad. Or your intonation, the intonation. Oh, well, I had it set up, and this guy, maybe he set it up for his playing style.
Yeah, maybe you should have talked to him about what you actually wanted.
And you have to communicate that. But if you don't know what that is, and that goes back to my first statement, that you don't know what your playing style is. If you don't know what your playing style is, how do I tell a tech? I go to a tech and I say, hey, I need my guitar set up. Okay. And they set it up. How do I tell him then that it's wrong if I don't know what's wrong?
Right. And actually, that's the real point I was going to make in all this, is that many people, they don't know the difference. I mean, we've all done it. We've all picked up somebody else's guitar and gone, how the hell are you even playing this thing? I've done it more often than most, probably, because for whatever reason, I seem to get the lost puppies. People come to me and they're like, look at my guitar. And like, here, you want to buy this from me? I'm like, dude, like, I want to buy it from you and throw it in the trash. Like, it's awful.
We're going to put this where it belongs.
But I'm a nice guy, so I don't say that. I say, it needs some work. Anyway, I bought guitars and basically rescued them. Because there was a guitar I bought. The guy, he had this American Standard Strat, and the guy was putting the tremolo bar on the guitar in the case, in a hard shell case. So when I got this guitar, the bridge was like this. The body is here. The bridge was like this, and the tremolo bar was still attached to the guitar, and it looked like it had never been cleaned. And I took it to Good Time, and I was like, guys, I know this guitar is worth like $500. I'm like, take it and clean it. I absolutely know that if you clean it, do a fret job on it, and you fix the springs, like the claw, it'll be perfect. And it was actually a really good guitar. Kind of pissed at myself because I did all this upgrade work to it and I sold it. And I was like, I probably should have kept that thing. It's not a bad guitar, but it wasn't exactly what I was looking for either. So anyway,
yep. Last segment.
Sometimes the things coming out of the box are really screwed up, and they turn out to be like an ugly duckling. It's sort of you get a gut feel for it. Like Jim, like I was talking about, like I picked that Strat out of the box and I go, oh my god! But I looked at it and I went, everything's intact, and the frets don't look horrendous. I'm like, it'll be fixable. Like this is not a big deal. So I bought it from the guy and we got it fixed up.
Yeah, you could see the what it could be.
And then there are times you fail at that too, like you buy Shengzai. By the way,
well, you did that as a joke, but still.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no.
Kind of.
I did it as a show thing, but anyway, the PRS I have hanging here next to me, I laugh because that's a veneer on that Shengzai, and it doesn't look half as good as this.
Of course.
And well, but it's the veneer versus this shouldn't be different. Okay, you can have all the 3D quality in a veneer. You can have gorgeous flame because it's way easier to get a gorgeous flame on one piece of wood that you chop into 1,000 pieces.
And right here.
But this still looks better. It looks way better.
Yeah.
And it's not. That's not like honeymoon or anything. It's just. It is what it is.
I still
it's a PRS.
I could be wrong. You've had it open, but I still think it's probably a photo veneer.
It
which
could be.
Means that
the thing is, it's 3D. Flame. You can tilt it in the light and you can see it shifting.
You see a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, which is like it's amazing.
Typically, that's got to have some depth.
Yeah, I mean, so they're probably just using. It's not a micron thin. It's probably more than paper. But it's still veneer. It's still chopped into. Take one piece of maple and chop it into 500 pieces.
My PRS is a veneer. That's an S2 or SE. I mean,